Hi, I'm Kevin Eikenberry, and I'm here to help you reach your potential as a leader and a human being. Welcome to Remarkable TV and the Remarkable Leadership Podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss any future episodes. Today, I'm talking about leadership lessons from the Great Resignation. Are you ready? Let's get started. Well, the Great Resignation, it's been all over the press, all in the media. Everyone's talking about it. Some people are participating in it. It's causing all sorts of challenges for leaders. You know, recently I recorded a video right here with personal lessons from the Great Resignation. You can see a link to that and watch it if you wish. But this is all about us with our leadership hat on. As a leader, what are the lessons that we need to take from this thing called the Great Resignation? All right, well, the first one is obvious. Where people want to work. There's a lesson there. People want to work in different places maybe than they used to. They've figured out that it's possible and perhaps even preferable to work at home. That's obvious, right? And if we're not giving them some flexibility or some options there, they might choose to go somewhere else. That's the obvious lesson from the Great Resignation. That's where a lot of people have stopped. That's where we're just going to get started. All right. So there are three other big lessons we must remember now. First one is organizational culture. Our culture matters. People care about it maybe more than ever. People always wanted to know what it was like to work there, how things worked there, but it matters more now. And culture matters more now too, because it will be different if we're not all together, and yet it all still matters. So we're going to, as leaders, need to take more care, give more feeding to the maintenance of and the creation of the culture that we truly want. Second, leadership skills. Yes, our job as a leader has always been hard and complex, and it's just gotten harder. The bar's been raised. It's always been true that people will leave a job by firing their boss. I'm leaving because I don't really like the boss. They're not really helping me. They're not developing me. They're a pain to work for, etc. All that's true. But now people are looking for a leader who is empathetic and caring and is a better listener and is a better role model than ever. All of this stuff matters more than ever. The bar for us as leaders has been raised, and the Great Resignation is proving that to us. Next, work-life balance. Now, when I was a kid, I never heard of work-life balance. Early in my career, I never heard of work-life balance. The rumbling became a roar, and now it's important. People have thought about it for a long time and wanted to balance it, but now they're saying, I want a different balance. I need to figure that out, and I'm looking for an employer or a leader who will help me figure that out and make it work. It's not our job as a leader to make work-life balance for people. We can't do it. But we can create an environment that gives people better chances to create the flexibility they need to get the work-life balance that they want. Now, those are all big lessons, and that's plenty of lessons to learn from the Great Resignation. But I've got one more for you, right? And I'm going to call it the biggest lesson of all. And here it is. People's view of work is changing. Now, there's a hint in that lesson from the where people want to work and the work-life balance thing. But the reality is that we all are viewing work, or starting to view work differently. How it fits into our lives, what it looks like in terms of our career and our futures. We are viewing work differently as leaders. Maybe we are too. We need to understand that for ourselves, but we need to recognize that this Great Resignation isn't just a blip or a moment, but it's an indicator of a new future. And as leaders, when we start to think about these lessons and others, we have a much better chance of succeeding. Let me close with today's tweet. The Great Resignation holds lessons for leaders if we look for them. The biggest one is that people are thinking about work differently than ever before. I just said it. The Great Resignation isn't a blip. It isn't an incident. It's an indicator of the future. If we want to be more effective leaders in the future, we have to be thinking about the future of work. And that's what we provide for you every week in our newsletter called, appropriately, The Future of Work. We hope you'll join us for that. Information on how to subscribe is right on this page. Hope you'll do that. And I hope you'll be back next week for another episode of Remarkable TV and the Remarkable Leadership Podcast.